Hello, I'm Thomas Crawford, the director of the American Classical Orchestra, a New York-based period instrument orchestra. We're having our 25th anniversary concert on Saturday, April 24, at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. This concert will open with the Handel coronation anthems, which were written in 1727 for the coronation of King George II, Westminster Abbey. And certainly the closest thing we have to Westminster Abbey experience in the United States is now St. John the Divine. So you can imagine being at a coronation, and that's the way your blood will feel when you're at this concert, like you are attending a noble event. So much so that in addition to the glorious music that Handel wrote, we are having dancers coming down the aisles as this music unfolds. Let's listen first to the opening movement of Handel's Zadok the Priest, which is a unique thing in music history because the gentle arpeggios that happen in the strings, they gradually crescendo and you can feel the energy building as you're sitting there. And so for the first 60 seconds you hear these string harmonies, and then the choir bursts in. That thrilling music, to me, brings me closest to what it would be like to be at a coronation. Our best way of reenacting that, to have you feel like you're there, is to have the same kind of choristers, to have a magnificent cathedral, to have a period instrument orchestra like Handel's, to have dancers coming down the aisle making motion in a way like the coronation. And then, after a brief intermission, we'll perform the Beethoven Ninth Symphony. Beethoven pushed the limits of the technical possibilities, the technical capacity of the instruments. And when people played this piece for the first time, it was in part the challenge of being able to play it that gave it that angst. And because we're a period instrument orchestra, even though we've played the piece on modern instruments, we have the opportunity to share with each other how much more glorious it is to play this music on period instruments. Let's listen now to the first movement, which starts in a very soft whisper. The piece is in D minor, which is a quite dark key. And there are these little sort of teasing rhythmic gestures in the violins. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. You'll hear those. And you'll hear the tremolo in the other strings. So you might say the piece begins nervously. And within 10, 15 seconds, the piece becomes violent. By the time Beethoven wrote the Ninth Symphony, he had matured so much artistically that, as is the case with some great artists, they have surpassed, you might say, even their own knowing, and they certainly have surpassed their audience of the day. Like a play, the Ninth Symphony introduces motives and elements early on that won't be heard again for another 20 minutes. One of the things he had mastered by the time of his Ninth Symphony is the use of ostinatos, that is, a repeating figure over and over and over. This was a technique that Beethoven had even as a young man, but he had become so skillful at using it to create emotional energy that by the Ninth Symphony, I think it's one of the ultimate ostinatos. Happens at the end of the first movement. The basses play ya da 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 dee da 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 dee da da, and they grind away. And the other instruments gradually enter in with other harmonies, and they sound like they're just sort of adding to the chaos, is really what happens. But the bass line stays grounded and it pounds over and over and over. And the effect of that is a different consciousness on us than we think of as for Western music. The idea of a drone or a bird and a repeating sound that's always there is more of an Eastern element in music. And it, like when people listen to the bagpipes and they say, I'm so moved by the bagpipes, and they can't really tell you why, the reason is because of the drone. It diffuses your sense of time and space, because it has a certain infinity about it. It just continues. Now you might have a melody on top of it, as you do in a bagpipe, but it's the drone that really creates this altered state in your mind. When you hear the ostinato at the end, it literally makes your body change.